Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and in today's video we are going to be looking at two very different Guthrie Govan signature guitars from two very different eras of Guthrie's career, and we're going to decide, or at least I'm going to give you my opinions on which one I like more and why. So two instruments. First up we are going to be looking at this absolutely stunning Suhr Bengal Burst signature. These were released back in 2010, and as you can see from the video, this is an absolutely stunning instrument. I think in terms of looks, Guthrie has never come close to having anything quite as eye-catching as this instrument. Now, I do know that he is of the opinion that he doesn't deserve an eye-catching guitar because he's not an eye-catching person. A very Guthrie sense of humour there, but this is definitely a stunning guitar. And I have always loved this guitar. I remember when it came out back in 2010, I actually ordered one. I think I got the 13th one off the line. So I played one of these while I was doing my music degree, and I played around the south of England in my band on that particular instrument, and I very foolishly sold it. So I recently managed to pick one up again. I traded a couple of guitars and got one, and I thought it might be fun to compare it to his latest signature model, which you can see on the wall behind me. But of course, if I do this, then suddenly they've changed place. So here we have Guthrie's latest signature model. This, of course, is made by Charvel, and this particular model is manufactured in Japan. So, of course, first difference between these two instruments is that one is made in America, one is made in Japan. I decided to go with this one because I actually quite like the look of this one compared to his other Charvel signatures. I thought it would be interesting also to compare his first ever signature model to his latest available signature model. So they are two very different guitars. Let's take a look at them in a little bit more detail. So first up we have the Suhr. Now obviously based on the Suhr modern shape, it's a little bit more of a modern super strat with a little bit more of a curve here, very comfortable on the arm. And in terms of manufacturing materials, we're talking about a mahogany body here with the flame maple top, pal ferro fingerboard, matching headstock. It has what many people would consider to be a classic Suhr feeling neck. It's definitely a little bit thicker than the Charvel. I was actually quite surprised when I picked up the Charvel, much thinner neck. But yeah, what you would expect, 24 frets, 2 humbuckers and a single coil. It's a floating bridge. This is a Goto floating bridge which I can push down and pull up. And in the back we have a tremolo engaged, so I'm able to lock that in place. So if I want to do detuning and things like that, I'm able to. One volume, one tone with a push-pull on the tone knob. Worth noting that when these originally came out, these had a push-push knob on the coil tapping function, which I like a lot more than having to grab a knob and pull it up. Just being able to push it and have it come up is great, so it's a shame they don't do that anymore. And it also features what's known as a blower switch. I did a video on this just recently. Nice little function. When you press this button, it engages just the bridge pickup going straight out of the guitar. So you might have split positions with the volume rolled half down to have a nice clean tone. You can press that and immediately have full volume bridge pickup, giving you that nice biting lead tone. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward guitar. I think the thing that we note about this guitar is it's beautiful. It's an eye-catching guitar. But other than that, nothing particularly fancy in terms of features. It's a stunning looking guitar, and I cannot quite put this into words how well manufactured this instrument was. I know this isn't a one-off because I had one before I had this one. Both of them that I've played have been immaculate, genuinely very impressive. The quality of the manufacturer on the Suhr instruments, anyone that's played one probably already knows that. You know, they have their own pleca machines, and the fretwork is just immaculate. The sides, when I rub my fingers down here, everything's nice and smooth, like you're getting no rough edges, you know, wonderfully cut nut. This instrument was manufactured in 2015, so it's been knocking around for a while, but it's still in just very, very good condition. The frets are still very, very good on it. It plays and sounds wonderfully. Let's take a look at the Charvel. So there are definitely some changes in terms of the woods that Guthrie is wanting to use over the years. As I mentioned, the Suhr is mahogany with a maple top. This is actually basswood with an ash top, a very what Guthrie describes as a very thin ash top. So in terms of you know, expense of materials, but obviously we don't think of basswood as a particularly expensive wood, but if that's what the man wanted, then that's what the man wanted. We do have this sunburst effect top on there with the natural wood look of that ash coming through. For me, that's a big plus compared to a lot of the plain signatures that Guthrie's had over the years. Other than that, we actually have the roasted or baked maple neck. No matching headstock. You know, would I want a matching headstock? Maybe, probably. I don't know. If this was my signature, would I go for that? Who knows? As I mentioned when talking about the Suhr, the neck on this immediately feels thinner. And the one comment I will make is the sides of the frets on these are definitely a little bit rougher. Definitely a little bit rougher. If I ran my fingers up and down there like that, that's going to start to hurt my fingers. So maybe not quite as high attention to detail on the fretwork. We do have loom inlay side dots though, if you want that really effective glow in the dark look. But aside from that, we have very similar features. 2 humbuckers and a single coil. These were custom designed for Guthrie on his American signature. These are a cheaper version of those, but he claims that he can't hear a difference. And what I will say, and you'll see this when we check out the sound comparisons of these guitars, these pickups are very, very detailed in sound. They have a specific sound. They sound great when they sound great, and they don't sound great when they don't sound great. If you put them through the right rig, they sound incredible. But sometimes, you know, there's certain sounds that I just find they don't respond all that well to. But that's fine, you know, they are designed to his specs. The other thing to note, and probably the most important thing on this instrument, is we have a Floyd Rose style bridge. Now, this was manufactured by Charvel just for the Guthrie signature. This is the only one that you can get this on. This is essentially a Floyd Rose bridge, but without the fine tuners, and it's not a double locking system. So it's like an old school, you know, like pre Van Halen first ever model of the Floyd Rose, and it's great. It's stable. I will say that. My criticism of that as a bridge design is, while it is wonderful, while it is incredibly accurate and you feel like you have a lot of control with it, speaking as a guitar player that plays live, and speaking as a guitar player that plays live, and on Saturday I did break a string, the idea of having to go into my gig bag to get an Allen key to unlock the string and then have to cut another string to put it in there, and I know some people are going to say, well, just thread it through the top of the guitar and just put the string end in. If you're restringing a wound string, you're likely to have a lot of the core sticking out, so you will still need to cut that. Feels a lot more complicated than I would like it to be. If I was designing this, I would probably be looking to have something where I could thread the ball ends in through the back just to make things a little bit easier. I don't know if the clamping system provides all that much more benefit. If you Google, you will see people talking about, you know, Floyd Rose clamps and strings slipping out of them, because you would expect wear and tear on the parts over time. So, but it is a very, very good bridge. Guthrie talks extensively about really designing this tremolo arm so there's no wiggle in it. That's nothing new. That's on the Suhr as well. There's absolutely no wiggle, and it's because it's full of rubber, so you get these a lovely strong contact. But it is a very, very good bridge. Now, this one doesn't come with that tremolo system. The American versions do. The Japanese version does not. You can always install one, but it doesn't come with it as standard, which for me is a little bit of a shame, but such is life. Other than that, wiring wise, we have a few differences here. So there's no blower switch on this guitar. There's no magic button that you can press that is going to give you that bridge pickup sound. So evidently that must be something that Guthrie wasn't hugely into. But what we do have is a switch here which gives us single coil simulation. Now we're going to check some of that out when looking at the sound samples, but what I will say about that single coil simulation is it's excellent. It sounds wonderful. The problem with a coil tap is that you are engaging one coil of a pickup, so there's a noticeable volume drop and you introduce hum into the signal. This, for all intents and purposes, sounds like it's a high pass filter on the pickup. So you are removing a lot of the bass from the pickup to get a thinner, more single coil sound. But what comes with that is it's still technically coming from a humbucker. So you are eliminating all of that hum and you are not actually getting that volume drop. So I really, really like this feature. Outside of that, we have master volume, master tone. There are numbers on the side of these, and there's a little metal dot on the guitar. It's hard to see, so you can always see exactly what number you have the pickup rolled to, which actually is more useful than I thought it would be, because when you're rolling down the pickups, you can see exactly where you've gone to, so you can always recall that tone, which is nice. 5-way selector, everything you would expect, locking tuners. Very cool instrument, very, very cool instrument. I have had problems with this particular one. This one is being sent back because there is definitely a fault with it. And while people have criticised my sending of this instrument back, when I pay £2,000 for an instrument, it's a lot of money, you expect it to come out of the box and be excellent. And the nut is very poorly cut on this. When I bend the D string, it pops out of the nut. When I bend the high E string, it pops out of the nut. That's unacceptable. And yes, guys, I get it. I could recut that nut myself. It wouldn't be a problem. I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to. It really is as simple as that. If I go out for a meal and I order a steak and it comes out not cooked to my preference, you wouldn't expect the waitress to say, well, you can always go back and cook it yourself. You know, where is the line? If you buy a guitar like this and it's not earthed correctly, is it my fault for not opening it up and resoldering it and having it earthed correctly? If the pickups aren't potted correctly, is it my fault for not repotting them? No. Multi-million-dollar companies do not need you defending them. They should fix things like this because, yes, while I could fix this, absolutely, if a young guitar player with very little experience in how to maintain an instrument purchased this, and this might be a dream guitar for a lot of people, if they purchase their dream guitar, they deserve to have their dream guitar come up. And that is a problem with this nut. And I will say, because this is a tusk nut, it's like embedded with graphite, that D string popping out of there has rubbed on this nut a lot now, and you can see that this is dark now, and that's because we're getting all the graphite coming through. So it's, you know, it is a technical issue with the nut, but it's also resulted in a cosmetic issue with the nut. So it's going to be totally playable for showing you what we're doing, so you can hear the sounds. But yeah, it is going back, and I like the instrument enough that I will be getting another one sent to me, and hopefully the nut is better. I will update you, but yeah, let's take a listen to some sound samples. So let's start out by looking at the Suhr. Now I am, for all of my sounds here, running direct into my Kemper profiler. I'm using a 67 Fender Deluxe reverb sound, and the first thing I will say about both of these guitars is the humbuckers are hot. This is a sound that I would use on all of my Telecasters for a very clean tone. This pushes that into proper crunch. So that's our bridge pickup at full volume. But if I roll that back, we can get a nicer roll it up again. I'll give you some more dirty amp sounds in a second, but that is that bridge pickup. If I put it in position 2, we have a split sound. Just an immediately usable sound. Middle position should be outside coils. Nice pickup sounds. Position 4 is going to be again a split sound. And then finally we're going to have a neck humbucker. Very warm. Worth pointing out that blower switch again. If I go to the neck pickup, roll it down for a clean tone, I can then press my blower switch. And then at the press of that button, I'm back with that clean tone, which is really nice. I do like that feature. Now let's just quickly take a look at the coil tap. So bridge pickup, pull that out, and we're going to have humbucker, single. Same on the neck, humbucker, single. Much more pronounced on the neck. If I roll that tone back, it becomes obviously a little bit more pronounced. So let's go bridge humbucker, bridge single coil. Just demonstrating there the problems of a push-pull. Let's just kick on some overdrive so you can get a feel for how that might sound if we go into ridiculous territory. Let's compare that to the Charvel. Okay, so no changes. We are on the same patches. We have the exact same Fender Luxe, Deluxe Verb, 67 Deluxe. Bridge pickup, again, at full volume. Make sure I'm in humbucker mode. There we go. And we sound like this. Second position, again, it's going to be a split sound. Middle position, again, it's going to be a split outside sound. Again, split neck and middle. So maybe not quite as high output as the Suhr. And then the neck humbucker. Again, not as high output as that Suhr. So yeah, nice. Now let's do that single coil emulation, because this is where I love this guitar. If I go to the bridge pickup and flick my switch here, here's my humbucker sound. Here's that single coil simulation. Humbucker, single coil, humbucker, single. I really like that sound. Same on the neck, humbucker, single. Humbucker. Single. Now for me, playing in a soul band, having access to that sound is a useful sound to me, and I really, really, really like that. Of course, I can have that split position. And then flick on my neck. So you just have to ask yourself, how important is a neck single coil sound to you? It is something that I absolutely do want to use. I might want to be soloing on the neck single coil sound, and then engage that hum sound. Now let's do the comparison with the overdrive sound. So here's me on that. So this is, I didn't mention it before, this is like a Marshall, a loud Marshall sound with some a boost pedal in front of it and meat. Neck. I just want to play this instrument. Very cool. So where do I stand with these two instruments? Well, it's a difficult one because I can't recommend that you go and buy the Suhr signature because it's not manufactured anymore. It's not as easy as saying which one of these should you buy because they are two different instruments in two different price ranges, it's worth pointing out. The Charvel coming in at about £2,000. With the Suhr, you're probably looking at £3,500. So it's a much more expensive instrument. I do feel overall that the playing quality on the Suhr is better than the Charvel. The attention to detail and manufacturing quality of the Suhr is definitely higher than the Charvel. There's just no question about that. Having said that, the evolutions that Guthrie has had in his pickup design, far superior on these. I think these pickups are much, much better. And that single coil simulation is just absolutely magic. You know, would I prefer this if it had a blower switch on it? I love the blower switch. I think the blower switch is fantastic. But you don't need it on a guitar. There's no definite need for it. So definitely not essential. Whereas this single coil simulation, I want this on every single humbucker equipped guitar that I own. So well worth considering for that. In terms of the bridge, I definitely prefer the Suhr bridge. I feel that this Floyd Rose style bridge is a little bit, it's like over-designed so it can be marketed to you. There was nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with the Goto trem that was on the Suhrs, because that's a pretty standard bridge. That's being used by everybody because it's a very, very good quality bridge. This one feels like an overcomplication, and like I say, if I break a string on a gig, I want to be able to change that string as quickly as possible, and this is going to take me longer to restring than the other one. Both, of course, have locking tuners, so that is going to help in that area. When it comes to sound, they're very different instruments in terms of, you know, materials. So you would expect them to sound a little different, and they have very different pickups in them. So sound is very much going to be which one comes down to you. And when it comes to the looks, I have to give it to that Suhr because it's just, that Bengal burst to me is much more eye-catching than this. Having said that, if this was the only thing that you had available to you, I can recommend this instrument. It is a very, very nice instrument. And as I say, although the nut has an issue, it is going back, but I am getting a replacement because I really do love this guitar and I do want one of these in my life. So absolutely killer instrument. Yeah, killer instrument. And if you get the chance to play one, do. But if you get the chance to pick up one of those Suhrs at a good price, I cannot recommend it enough. So lastly, I just want to say a huge thank you to my wonderful supporters over on Patreon. You guys allow me to make videos like this. While I didn't spend a fortune on 2 guitars for this, I did buy one of these, and I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for my Patreon and, you know, trading guitars. So thank you very much. If you want to join us over there and get access to weekly guided practice routines or weekly guided ear training sessions, or download hundreds of tabs and get access to all of my behind the scenes communities like my Discord server and my Facebook page, then that is the place to do it. Alternatively, you can also check out one of my books available on Amazon. I have a lot of those available. In fact, you can pick up a copy of Guided Practice Routines for Guitar now and take your playing where you want it to be. Hope you got some fun out of this. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I will see you for another video soon. Laters.